Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by our military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we will be doing a special fireside chat titled Marriage and the Military. Who better to have on the chat about this topic than my beautiful wife, Karleen? We also have Marine veterans Ramon and Lisa Villa with us as well. But before we get into today's fireside chat, are you enjoying the podcast? Then consider becoming a TLA patron. That's the Lost Art Patron. It is through donations that we are able to continue recording the podcast to get our veteran voices out for all to hear. Just go to the Lost Art website and click on the Become a Patron link. If becoming a patron does not work for you, and you would rather do a one-time donation, then go to the Lost Art website and scroll to the bottom to find a direct Cash App for donations. If you would like to become a guest and tell your veteran story, then email me at thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. All right, well, here we are, and I got to say this is one special fireside chat. I'm very excited about this one. Mainly, I'm excited about it because of the special guests that we have. One in particular, which is my lovely wife, Karleen, and I'm so excited that you're here, and you're actually going to talk on the podcast with me and tell me all about it, and I'm excited. Are you still there?
I am. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, awesome. And now we have Marine veterans Lisa and Ramon Villa. How y'all doing?
Great.
Hey, great. How you doing, Andrew?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Can't complain. So we're coming together to talk about marriage in the military. And I guess I'll start off by saying Karleen and I have been married going on 28 years now. I think in June it'll be 28. And I've been in the Marine Corps for 25 years. So I've been married to my wife longer than I've been married to the Corps. Do you want to add anything, sweetie?
No, you got the date right. The years right. Good job.
That's always the start. Good start, right?
I wrote it down. Lisa, Ramon, would you guys want to kind of introduce yourselves a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, sweetheart. You can tell them about when we're married because I didn't write nothing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, Ramon and I have been married for 32 years. This last December, we celebrated 32 years. We got married, actually, I was still in high school. It was Christmas of my senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And then I entered the Marine Corps that June. And Ramon had already been in the Corps for 2 years. So we started our relationship with him already in the Corps, and then I became active duty for 5 years, served, and then got out. And then I followed him around as a spouse for the next, 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
I was actually in my MOS school when I got this letter from this young high school student saying that she wanted to be pen pals, and I was having a good time at my school, and recruiter followed up with me and said, "Hey man, you really got to help me out with this one. Can you talk to this applicant?" Yeah.
He very reluctantly contacted me.
I bet that was reluctance. Yeah.
So if anybody in podcast world out there wonders if I got the recruiting points for her, no, I didn't. Her ex-boyfriend did.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think I won this one.
Yeah. Good call. All right. So I guess I'll start out here by saying the famous quote that probably everyone in the military has heard at some point in time, but that quote is, "If the military would have wanted you to have a spouse, then the military would have given you or issued you a spouse." So I know I've heard that several different times. What do you guys think about that exact thing there? What do you think?
I'm I'm going to let Lisa answer that question because that is a direct. She has a direct answer from when she was a Marine Corps family team building volunteer and used to brief the
Okay.
recruits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take that one, babe.
Uh, you know, yes and no. Yes, I've heard that statement 100 times. But I think in the end, when the couple works together, the husband and wife, whichever one is active duty or what have you, works together, I think it makes the Marine in our case, ours is the Marine world.
Mm-hmm.
It makes the Marine stronger in a lot of ways because he knows. In our case, he knew what he was fighting for. He knew what he had to lose.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, military life was challenging with a spouse, but if your spouse, I think the biggest thing when I look back and like Ramon said, I did a lot of the family team building stuff, and if the spouse thinks that they're going to separate themselves from the military and not be involved at all, and yeah, that's your job, you just go to work, then yeah, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I could see that.
But the Key Wise volunteers back in my day was called Key Wise.
Mm-hmm.
They get a bad rap of gossip and all that stuff,
Right.
but when utilized properly, which luckily I was blessed with some amazing women that I got to associate with in the Key Wise volunteer groups. And, when used properly, we were amazing support for one another, and then in turn able to support our Marines that were
Mm-hmm.
deployed, whether they were deployed or just, a Saturday afternoon concert, being that, I did spend a lot of years in the band.
Mm-hmm.
There were plenty of Saturday afternoon concerts and parades and
Right. Yeah.
and all that we went to.
So from my perspective, the fact of the matter is, yeah, if the Marine Corps would have wanted you to have a spouse, then they would have issued you one. But the truth of the fact is Marines come with spouses, and they come with families,
Yeah.
and we have to recognize that, they got wives that care and love them, and they got families that love them the same, and it was always nice for me to have that support network, behind me.
Right.
I always knew that the home fires were continuously churned. The embers were still there, and
Mm-hmm.
I would come home after my deployments or the time on the drill field or with my MOS, come back and throw a little lighter fluid on it, and the fire would go, and then I'd leave and the embers would go down, and but they would still be churning.
Yeah.
If you think about that, there was nothing, and I got to hand it to Lisa. She always made sure that she was close to she remained engaged and close, never intrusive, but always close and interested in what I was doing. And that just really kind of, uplifted me over the years, because, wow, my wife is, and my kids are interested in what I'm doing. They're excited about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about it too, and at the end of the day, for me, the Marine Corps provided me a mechanism to put, food on the table. So no matter what I was doing, I always felt kind of, I kept it close hold because whatever I was doing, the performance I was giving, or the performance that I was, or my performance period, was actually bread on my family's table, and I really took that to heart.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know me and Karleen were kind of discussing a little bit earlier. Karleen, you want to chime in on this?
Yeah, well, I think that saying's a good indicator that it's going to be challenging. And we came in, we were married a few years before Andrew joined, and it was difficult when he was at boot camp. They would have much rather he not have a wife. I think
Yeah.
it would have been easier. But yeah, it was definitely challenging. But one thing about it, when you do get a wife, it seems like the Marine Corps, they've, adopted us as part of the family. So I felt that over the years.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, very true. I will say that for me, like being the Marine in the situation here, sometimes it was difficult for me because you're hanging out with your Marine buddies at work and stuff like that, and oh hey, we want to go do this, want to go do that, and it's like, well, I got to go home, so you didn't get quite as much camaraderie from time to time as others. And I know that becomes eventually, talking to a lot of Marines as they're doing their career, and you hear about them struggling at home because they're going out and partying or whatever, not at home with mom and the kids and stuff like that, becomes a big issue. And I that's from my perspective, kind of some of the stuff that I see from a negative aspect.
Interesting. I think one of my favorite things, though, was when Ramon would have his Marines over, or fellow Marines, especially as when we were lower ranking and, maybe they weren't all married. But, having those single guys over, females as well, but having them over, and, I had the opportunity to provide a meal in a home.
All the turkeys we cooked over the years, man, my gosh.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think I always enjoy that. I know sometimes, obviously, some of the Marines were probably like, oh, I don't want to go to Gunny's house or Sergeant's house, but those were some of my favorite times, not just holidays, but, a Friday night or what have you. So.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if, we all know this out there, but I was actually really blessed, in my marriage, especially with Lisa, understanding, because Lisa's a Marine as well. So we chewed the same dirt, yellow footprints, graduated, and just kind of understood that. So when she had to shift her roles to being that supportive spouse, she kind of knew, we kind of knew the same dirt we were chewing.
Right.
But it's just, we were able to hang out with colleagues and friends and everything like that. But, I remember a time, especially when I was in San Diego, when Liberty Call was sounded, for me at least, it was time to go home. It was time to go home and tend to that, and recharge that battery. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like getting recharged for me, going home and seeing my family and stuff. And then, I was ready up at 05:30, 05, 04:45, get back on the road and head back down to San Diego, so that way I could do my thing, there.
Yeah, definitely. So for you, that was a recharge to go back home, stuff like that. I would say the same thing for me as well. I always get a recharge coming home, being with the wife, being with the kids, those types of things. But I will say there are many Marines, and I'm sure you've counseled Marines as they're in relationship type stuff, that they struggle to be able to remove themselves kind of from that single lifestyle, right? And now they're in that married lifestyle. Now, I don't know how much of an issue that is for people, but I saw a lot of people, especially on the drill field, get divorced during that time, because they would rather go out and party instead of go home and see mama on the, one night of a cycle you got off or whatever.
Right.
Back in the day, it's kind of interesting you say that, but, back in the day, General Krulak came out with, when the Crucible, and there was a big shift in recruit training, but, he came out with the three pillars of, honor, courage, and commitment.
Right.
And as much as you are honor, courage, and commitment at work with your fellow Marines, I mean, you're Marine 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
So that honor, courage, and commitment that you have at home, you have to carry that honor, courage, and commitment, back home, because you do have a role as as a husband or as a spouse, as a husband or wife, or, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You have that role. And, so yeah, you just have to put that aside, when you do have that spouse, at home that needs you, you kind of, need to, then you can't have fun with, with the guys or gals anymore, and have, good times and everything like that. But you kind of do have to, tend to what's important after hours,
Yeah.
The X factors now, and then you compile that with kids that have, a certain need with you as a parent, it just kind of, and overall we were, I just have to say, it's kind of like, I'm not saying that everything was peaches and cream with us, but we did, the one thing that really helped us out over the years is that the units that we're with also had families too. And no matter what rank we were at, we got to kind of, cross pollinate. We had a commonality between each other,
Yeah.
because we were families, and we had kids, and we kind of associated with each other. And, it was kind of, that was kind of special for us too. And that kind of helped out over the years.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Earlier when we were talking, we talked about being a Marine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And Karleen has some good info on that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah, it was hard. It was a little bit of a shock because we were married before. And so, my husband comes home every day at 5, and, we get to go when we want, do when we want. And then all of a sudden he joins the Marine Corps, and it's like, oh, when he was, younger rank or lower rank, he had to go do the jobs that other people didn't want to do. And then as he got into a higher rank, it was all of a sudden you're getting calls at 3:00 in the morning, or, all through the night. On the weekends, you've got to go take care of submarine. So yeah, you're definitely, the Marine Corps or the military, whichever branch, is definitely part of your marriage during that time. And just,
I forgot about those 3:00 in the morning calls. You're right.
Yeah. And so how did you, both of you, Karleen and Lisa, how did you deal with managing that throughout the years? Like, what was your, I guess, coping skills for that?
For me, I think those, 3:00 calls, those weekend interruptions, I think they just became part of life. I think in a way, in my head, I just related to the fact that for us, that was the mission that God had called my husband to do, and that he was in that position for a reason. And I had to believe that and rely on that, when he got that call at 3 a.m, he was the Marine that was designed to deal with that call, because it obviously was not a good call.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
No calls at 3 a.m. are good calls.
It's kind of like that. Nothing good happens after midnight. It's 100% true.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah. So I just had to believe in my heart that God had a plan, and my husband was the one who needed to that was the one that was supposed to get the call,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just keep going.
Karleen, how did you kind of deal with it?
Yeah, I don't think I was as nice as Lisa. It took a little bit. Our first duty station was in 29 Palms, and it was difficult. So I think we went through the emotions, and I think eventually what it boiled down to was just getting to understand the Marine Corps, because I didn't come from, though my father served in Korea, it was way before I was born. And so I didn't have that military concept. And so it was a lot of like doing the Key Wives class and looking at mentors and the mentor wives to see how they handle it, to really learn about the Marine Corps and what it was about, and and how to handle it. So it took a little bit, but then, I think it's just, what she said, just having a loose script and just knowing that that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And you're there to take care of them. Plus I saw how much you cared, even if it was, you had to unload an entire trailer by yourself of equipment. You did the job,
Right.
in a way, the best way you could. And then definitely as you went up in rank, I mean, definitely still care about the Marines, and just, you'd run to the hospital or go wherever you needed to go. And so it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah.
It definitely was. It's funny because when they were lower ranking, I guess I had the advantage that, like I said, I was active duty. Plus, I grew up as a military brat, so I had a lot of military experience. But when they were lower ranked, they just got all the, he's the only one unloading the trailer. Or he had to go drive the 5-ton truck or what have you. And I thought at first, I used to think that, well, once he gets higher ranking, or like, especially when he was on the drill field, once he gets to senior drill instructor, then he's not going to have the
Yeah, right.
then he's not going to have the crap jobs, then he's going to be around more. And I realized as he progressed in rank that just meant, he had more responsibility and he got more of those 3 a.m. calls.
Yeah, that's very true.
So it's like, oh.
Let's put it out there. That drill field is a whole different ballgame.
Yep. Yeah,
Yes,
it is.
it
It
is.
is. It is a whole different.
So sorry, go ahead, Ramon.
No, I remember. I mean, when I was on the drill field, it was always I don't know if it was a joke or a saying. It's been so long, but it was like, a half a day felt like a whole. A half a day felt like a whole weekend. And
Yeah.
if you got a whole day, it felt like a whole week. And then when you got, if you got that 10 days basket in between cycles, then that felt like a whole month. And it was like the drill field really showed us in a family how to really embrace. I mean, with us and our 4 kids and the 4 kids we had at the time, the little ones, we all learned as a whole family that to know how to embrace the time and appreciate the time we have. So, and then just kind of not to dovetail the topic off, but I remember there was a mention, both ladies had mentioned something about, key wise. Karleen had made mention, key wise. Lisa did. I had to tell you, if there's a spouse out there that is in the Marine Corps, and I know the Army services have it and the Navy's and different services have it, but there are courses that you can take that kind of like orientate new spouses into the military, and whether that could be just culture or learning how to read learning and leave an earning statement, or coping. I mean, I would suggest get involved, and if you find the classes or seek out these seminars that are out there, these classes that are out there, these training sessions, and take them, because it's kind of it can be a really eye opener and a really understanding that can make life easier for you as a spouse, but then also to help support your service member as well.
Yeah, very good point. So, as we're moving along in this, and you guys kind of touched on it a couple of times, but your faith helped you through a lot of the times, right? And I know you've both been a good example, in your faith and doing things like that, especially in front of the Marines, and just making sure that they kind of see it. So how important do you feel that aspect of being married in the Marine Corps, married in the military, benefited you?
I would say it was everything.
Yeah.
I don't, we tell our now all grown children and that are just all got married recently, that without God at the center of our lives together, I don't know how we would have made it. Even for us, just as we're Catholic, we're Roman Catholic, and just the simplest idea that when my husband was deployed, and he went to services on the other side of the world, wherever he was, and I went to services, we were hearing the same message. It was the exact same readings. because it's one universal search. So when I went to Mass on Sunday with my family, you know, with all the children and stuff, I knew that my husband was hearing the same readings, and we were together, worshiping together. And that alone, for me, made the deployments doable, ironically, it made going to Mass on Sunday joyful and hurtful all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, for us, I know that without knowing that God had a plan and that He was protecting my husband and that and He was looking after us and that we had something in common there, I don't think we would have made it 32 years.
Yeah.
You know, I get, you know, faith plays a big part. You know, it was central focus in our lives, you know, and um, it was definitely an anchor for us, faith. You know, but you know, taking just a step further, you know, when I would, you know, in the Marines, whether that be in the operating forces of the schoolhouse, I used to tell them just a few things. I used to tell them, you know, give three things, or I would give them six things, and three of those things were be, no, do. What a Marine should be, what a Marine should know, and what a Marine should do. And within those three things, I would say that part of that would be to have a healthy mind, a healthy body, and a healthy spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that would just kind of that's what I would kind of tell, you know, the Marines. You know, when you're when you're a recruit, or you had recruits, you know, it was like everybody went to church on Sunday because,
Yeah.
you know, they could either go to church or they could stay with me, the drill instructor, and
That's right.
they would always prefer to go to church.
That's
know?
right.
But
Church was
I
way
mean,
better.
but
I can
that
tell you
does
that.
kind of say something, you know. But I mean, for us, you know, it was at faith played a huge part. It was an anchor that really kind of, you know, that kept us together. I mean, that was just our personal experience there. You know,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people out there, you know, have experienced differently or cope in different ways. For us, you know, it was maintaining, you know, that central point. You know, was a focal point for us.
Yeah. 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 Very good point. Karleen, did you have something?
Yeah, I think just being a Marine Corps wife, we don't have a lot of control. We're not able to say where we want to move or where we're going to move, and all those things. And, you know, but God does, but God has control. And that was a big part of just having faith that God's will was done and that He would keep you safe. And that's, yeah, it got through a lot of times.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Good
Yeah, that's
point.
very true. As we're moving through this conversation, I want you to kind of address some of the things that you would want to impart on the servicemen and women of today as they're moving through their careers. What is it, you know, when it comes to being married in the military? What would you recommend to them as you're moving forward?
Oh wow,
That's a big topic.
It
is. I think about that one. Anybody want to chime in?
I think I would say, I think I would tell any military spouse to understand that the military is not a job. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think when you walk into it as a lifestyle that, you know, like Karleen was saying earlier, you know, you're going to move and you don't get to choose where.
Yeah.
You know, so when you understand it as a lifestyle and embrace the lifestyle of being in the military, I understand that as the spouse, you didn't sign the dotted line to be in the service, but your spouse did. And the only way they're going to be successful is if you understand what's going on and embrace the lifestyle. embrace the moves. When you move for the 10th time, learn the area and explore and embrace what that area has to offer. And
Absolutely.
meet the other spouses in the unit, depending on the size of the unit. I mean, we were blessed with fairly small units, but meet the other spouses. Be interested in your spouse's job and what they're doing, and so yeah, just be all in. It's a lifestyle. I think that's probably
that's good
the best
advice.
thing.
Karleen?
Yeah, I would piggyback on that. Just have a loose grip. You're going to make plans, but don't let them be set in stone because it's going to change. I can't, oh my gosh. Let's see. We had orders to Hawaii and we ended up here.
That's
we
right.
had,
Thanks, Trenum.
Told you.
yeah, we had orders.
I told you too, AJ.
Yeah.
We had orders to go to Spain. Was it Spain?
Yeah. Or no, Italy.
Italy, yeah. Naples, Italy, and all the things that went into that, and then to turn around and end up somewhere else. Just have a loose grip. It's like that movie Parenthood in the 80s with Steve Martin. And the roller coaster. You can ride the roller coaster and hold on tight, but you're going to be sore and have some, negative thoughts when you get off, or you can just throw your hands in the air and have a loose grip and just enjoy the ride.
I think my favorite moving story was the time that I'm at the house and the truck arrives with the Packers a day early, and we still did not know where we were going. And I'm calling my husband at work going, all right, Ramon, this cannot, I'm pretty flexible, but we got to know. Is there stuff going? Because at that point we had two options. We were either moving from Virginia Beach here. We were either going to California or North Carolina. Two very different locations. Yeah. I needed to know, where am I telling this truck?
Oh, you didn't say it like that. You said, Ramon, the truck is here. The movers are here. Where do I tell them to take our stuff?
Yeah, that's a good time right there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, and embrace it and just kind of take the ride. I just remember we're having a conversation with one of our kids the other night because they had it, they experienced it, but they couldn't remember because they were so young. Lisa would remember when I reported into Miramar and we rented a house and I went to work, and literally 6 weeks later, I'm gone. I'm in a plane. I'm leaving. And then Lisa ends up getting housing while I'm gone. And the kids are worried that, Dad's deployed and we're moving and Dad's not going to know where we're going to be.
Yeah.
Where are we going to be? We're moving, and then almost a year later, to the day, almost to the year, to the month, I'm gone again.
Yeah.
And then what, babe, another 6 months after that, gone again, it just, so you just kind of, I was really lucky to have, a supporting network in both children and wives, and wives, in wife.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and wife, because she understood, but it's just the one thing that I as I look back, as I'm a lot, more long in the tooth now, is I had all these operating things and shifting and moving and commitments and obligations and Marines to take care of, and now that I look back, if I could impart anything on, Marines, out there that with spouses is, you got all these moving parts at work and everything's really high up tempo and, you're making things happen and you're hooking and jabbing. Well, don't forget, that there's a lot of hooking and jabbing going on at home too. It just may not be your kind of hooking and jabbing maybe, running 8 different places, taking the kids to daycare or to preschools or
Yeah.
to this class or to that class, or maybe somewhere in the middle of all of this stuff that mama's supposed to be taking care of at home, they're somewhere in the middle. She's got to fit in because you asked her to take your medals to some special place, and you gave her a piece of paper with some directions saying this is how you do it. Don't forget when she asks you how your day's going, or they ask you how your day went there at work, that you kind of return that favor and say, well, how was your day? Well, what happened to you, and have that conversation, when you get home, life gets busy, and you just gotta, just don't forget that, you're a Marine 24/7. You have a Marine family, and you're Marine, and I know for in our case, for our Marine family, I knew I was a Marine 24/7, but I also knew, and this is true, I knew my family knew that they were a Marine family, 24/7 as well. I mean, and you just got to know that, I wasn't, I was gunny at work, but when home, I had to be Ramon. I had to be dad,
Definitely.
So.
I know there's always one thing that stuck to me that Karleen used to say, was like when I was on the drill field or whatever. She said, "Go ahead and make the plans, and don't break those plans, even if he says he's coming home or not." Karleen, you want to talk to that?
Sure. I don't remember saying that.
You don't remember saying that? Okay, so when I was on the drill field, I would say, "Hey, I'm coming home tonight," and then all of a sudden, I wouldn't be able to come home. And you had always said, "Well, just go ahead. Whatever plans that you had, go ahead and keep them. And if he shows up, great. If not, well, you already had your plans, and you can go do it."
Oh yes, you're talking about me had plans.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I learned that right away. I think the first time he was on the drill field. And he came home after like 4 weeks for the first time. And it was the first night I had plans to go to a movie or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? This is the first night I made plans with a friend, and he's finally home. And yeah, from then on, I was like, I can't, because it was so stressful, and you never knew when he was going to come home, that, we would work it out. Plus, he just wanted to sleep anyway.
Not that I wanted to sleep. It's that I had to sleep.
And sometimes he would go with me. I think one time we had tickets to the Anaheim Ducks final game.
Yeah.
And we were like in a suite. Like we got free tickets somehow through my job. And Matthew Perry was sitting like 2 rows below us. And I'm like, Andrew, look, it's Matthew Perry. I look over and Andrew is knocked out, sleeping hard in his seat. I'm like, oh my goodness, we're going to be on the screen. I know it.
Yeah. Slept through the whole game. I don't remember any of it.
That would have been a heck of a kiss cam, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but I've always thought that was good advice. I mean, I know it's not a good place to be in, not knowing if your spouse is coming home or not, or when, and that type of stuff. But it does happen in the military. So, and on a drop of a dime, anything could change, and then all of a sudden, whatever plans you had are out the window. I don't know how many times that's happened to us. I'm sure Karleen has kept count at some point. And I'm sure I'm going to pay for them in retirement.
Too many times.
You owe her.
Yeah, I do.
You owe her. You're right, Karleen. We had it finally kind of okay, this is what time dinner is in this house. If you're home, great. If not, we're eating. This is because you're right. Oh yeah, I'm going to be home by 6, honey. Sure.
I don't think I've ever made it home when I said I was going to, like ever.
No, I don't think so.
I know she gets mad at me whenever I say, "Oh I'm on my way," and then like 45 minutes later, she's like, "You're on your way, huh?"
The nice thing
what are
is
you doing?
now we have.
I had just this one more thing.
Yeah, just one more thing. The nice thing is we have the trackers now. I can see his little dot moving and see. Oh,
Yeah.
he is actually on his way home. Or when he calls and says, I'm on my way home, and then I see his tracker not move, I'm like, yep, you are not on your way home.
What was it that I typed in my thing one time and I can't remember what it was, and you were so mad at me. 'Cause it was like something like soon be or what? Oh, man, I wish I could remember what it was that I typed, and you got so mad at me because that is not what that means to me. What was that?
If you're on your way.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah,
no. Was it on your way? On my way?
on my
Something.
way, yeah.
Yeah, on my way.
You're on
And,
your way is different than my on my way.
yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it was funny. I had learned it was like we have what do we say in our family? It's like we have right now, later, and later,
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. That's a good way of doing it.
It's just like, I need you to get this done. But do you need to get me to get it done right now, or right now, later?
I like it. Oh man. Yeah, I think like in the military and being married, yes, is challenging, 100%. But you have to be a team. You got to work together. You got to try to figure everything out as a team. And a lot of times, people say don't go to sleep at night mad. We have tried that in our house. I think there's a couple of times that we've gone to bed mad. I refuse to sleep on the couch most of the time, no matter what. Um, you know, just because I'm stubborn more than anything. But and we've had our fair share of arguments and fights, but I will always say we always come back together. We figure out a way to communicate with each other, talk it out, and figure out how to move forward at that point. But that's my perspective, and I'm going to stick to that, Karleen.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
True.
What
Well, I
would
can't sleep on the couch after retirement. I can't sleep after the couch because my CPAP is right next to the bed.
you got to have the CPAP. Yeah.
I gotta have my CPAP.
Yeah, he'll wake the dog up if he has to try to sleep
My
downstairs.
English bulldog will wake up.
You're challenging the bulldog in his snoring contest. I like it.
Yeah. The other thing is that you have to. I mean, I think more so than a lot of other couples, you have to, as a military couple, you have to maintain uh, some humor in your life too. Some
Yeah.
things you just gotta laugh at. It's just, it's like, here we go again, and you just kind of chuckle, and you take that left foot forward, and you keep marching. You just,
Very true.
humor. Having humor and fun in your life is no matter what, whether you're a military couple or not, you have to have that. It
Yeah,
has to be a factor. Just humor, fun, enjoying each other. I mean, it's why you're with your soulmate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you do finally get a time where they actually are home and you have that free moment of, you know what, there actually technically is nothing on the schedule this weekend, is taking that time to remember your husband and wife and enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
We were very blessed over the years, even though we never lived near family. I always made sure I had very close friends that I trusted and stuff that could watch the kids, whether it be for a night or a weekend. So the two of us could get away and just be husband and wife,
Yeah.
For that brief moment. So that way, 20 some odd years later, when the kids are all grown and gone and he's retired from the military, we actually still kind of like each other.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I could see that. I could see how that would be good.
Thanks.
Kinda.
But it was because of the work that was done over the years of taking that time. But like Ramon said, that's whether you're military or not. You got to take that time as husband and wife, and remember why you're together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know for me and Karleen, we said a long time ago that we'll never say goodbye. We always say I love you. And I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, it came from the song back in the day, Never Say Goodbye. right? But we always say I love you. So when we're leaving, whether it's me going to work in the mornings or whatever, we always say I love you. That way, the last thing that we said was something, in a loving way, and hopefully that will stick. If something bad were to happen or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Karleen, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, it's from the song by Bon Jovi.
Bon
Yeah.
Jovi. Bon Jovi was smart. Yeah.
Never say goodbye.
Yeah. I think that was our song, wasn't it?
Yeah.
See, I'm getting all kind of bonus points. I wrote that down too. So I probably shouldn't say I wrote it down. I think that means that it's not a bonus point. Is
Man,
that
that
right?
was back in that was back in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Gee, wolf out the big hair and the Aquanet now, man.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to bust cute pants.
Parachute pants.
Oh my
Yeah. I know you were rocking some parachute pants, though.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I could spin on my knee like there was no tomorrow.
Very nice.
Now I can't even walk up the stairs.
Yeah. It does change a little bit over time, that I've found. All you young guys, you need to go out and take care of yourself. Go to medical, do your thing. You're not too. Don't be too proud. Like some of us, we're probably too proud to go to medical. Yeah, that was me.
What do you say, Andrew? To change your
Stay motivated and
change.
Stay motivated and change your socks.
Change your socks. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's good advice. Good advice.
Yeah. The motivation part is good. Yeah.
The only problem with that advice now is that now our adult children, if they get sick or we're sick or something, and my daughter will be like, well, did you change your socks?
That's why
it
you
comes
didn't
back
change them.
to us. It comes back to you.
Yeah. Very true. Oh man. Well, hey, it's been a fantastic time chatting about this. Is there anything else that that you guys want to bring up that maybe I missed? We hadn't had a chance to talk about.
I can't think of anything.
I can't think. This was a lot of fun. I mean, this is really, really. I mean, AJ Cox, you really got something good going on here with your followers and everything. I remember hearing your first podcast, and I've heard a few more, and this is just really something special that I feel that you have going on, and I do encourage and I hope you continue it. This is really cool. And this is good for a lot of people. Yeah, good fireside chats, man.
Well, thank you. We're going to continue it because in retirement here, as we're moving in that direction, we're getting that RV. We're going to travel the country, and we're just going to hit up different places. And the veterans that are in that area, or try to get as many veteran stories as we can, have as many fireside chats as we can about topics that are interesting and important to the military and veteran communities. And we're going to keep that going as much as we can. The wife has been pushing me pretty good on it too. So, and I couldn't do 90% of it without her saying, yeah, push this button, do this, do that, because I'm not great with computers.
I think the only thing, I think that the one saved round I would have would be that, as a spouse and in the military, don't listen to all the negative, oh, it's not going to happen. Oh, you're not going to make it. I mean, Ramon and I were a statistic waiting to happen. I mean, I was still in high school. Then I went out to duty and then got out. I mean, we were so young, and according to the military and all of our friends in the military and all stuff, oh, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Just don't listen to that. Make your own story.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice.
Yeah, that's true. I think
We'll tell your friends that we're.
Sorry, go ahead, Karleen.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just going to say that's true. Don't listen to the negative. Our first duty station was 29 Palms, and everybody said how awful it was and how much we would hate it. And I loved it. Oh my gosh. I loved it so much, and I wanted to go back, but then they closed the band. But yeah, don't listen to that. Make your own decisions about things, and stay positive. Stay positive. Make, if it is really bad, find something good about it. There's always something good.
Always.
Yeah, very true.
And find yourself positive people that have, interest, with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have, if you're a married couple and you associate yourselves with your unit, or let's say you find yourself a faith-based community or a civic community, you find like-minded people that have the same interests that are positive,
Mm-hmm.
get involved with that, or in your unit, if you have got kids, you're going to find yourself associating with others that have kids, and you relate to each other. Don't forget your date your spouse.
Yeah.
Those, get those concert tickets if you can afford it. Go to the movies, or sometimes you may not have. I mean, we've been there and done that. Where Lisa and I, we're down to the last, maybe $25, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a date night. And guess what? It's a $5 box of tacos. We're sitting there
Yeah.
just having a conversation with each other, and you know, you just, you just make the time special for one another, and you endure it. You can do it. All of us can do it out there. Like the lady said, probably the best advice: just don't listen and make your own stories, man. I got to hand it to the ladies here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Karleen, did you have anything you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, just have a loose grip, enjoy it. We've been in the Marine Corps, or I've been a spouse for 25 years, and I've loved it. There's been some hard times, but overall it's been great, and I can't imagine. And it gave us the life that we have. So, and
Yeah.
you're about to retire at 46 years old.
That's right.
How cool
46
is
years.
that? Congratulations.
So, and this month, well, we're not in February yet, but it's kind of ironic that February is in 2 days, and I went to boot camp in February, and there is a certain individual. I hate to bring up names, but there was a drill instructor when I was coming through that, man, did he give me a hard time at boot camp. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. I remember I was a whiskey locker recruit. I know you know this story, but not everybody knows it, Ramon. So I'm going to let everybody know.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was a whiskey locker recruit. I was in charge of it, so you have to make sure everything's lined perfect and stuff like that. And I remember, I can't remember which drill instructor it was, but one of them come in, they're like, they just found out I was in the band. They're like, "Oh, you're in the band? Oh, I know somebody you need to talk to." And I was like, "Aye, sir." And the drill instructor leaves, and I'm like, "Okay." I go back to fixing my whiskey locker like a good recruit. And next thing I know, this drill instructor walks in, and he starts laying into me. I'm pretty sure he raked everything off onto the floor. I mean, he just went one side down the other. I was probably in there for 2 hours listening to him ramble about how being in the band was, you joined the world's greatest fighting force to be in the band. And he went on and on and on about that. And every time he saw me, the rest of the time, it was the same things. He would always mess with me. And then right at the very end, he comes up, he's like, "Do you know why I gave you such a hard time about being in the band?" I was like, "No, sir." And he says, "Well, it's because I'm in the band too." And at that point, I'm pretty sure all I saw was red. And if I could have, I probably would have strangled him. But I didn't. And I was
Wonder who
able
that
to.
guy is.
I know. Who is that guy, Ramon? I know you have a good story about that too. So.
Well, for drill instructor has 2 hours to mess with a recruit. Okay, it wasn't 2 hours. and all that stuff in the whiskey in the equipment locker costs money, so I'm sure nothing really fell on the floor. Okay,
Right? Yeah, he's in quotation marks saying that right now.
yeah. So no, yeah, I mean, it's just been, who would have thought that once, a recruit that was in my company would, later serve with me, at First Marine Division, would, later, I'm going to shoot your accolades up in the air, would later become a drill instructor himself, and much less also chief drill instructor, and then serve at in my seat in my last post, as a senior enlisted advisor for a Marine detachment. I left that seat in 2013, and here someone that I came across at MCRD, Bravo Company, Bravo Nation, gotta throw it out there,
That's
in
right.
Bravo Company, somebody that I came across with, would just, get as far. And just congratulations to you and your wife, just in hanging in there and rising to the top like you have, and now just creating your own new adventures. Congratulations, you guys, and I have been honored to serve with you, Andrew, and to be your friend now. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you, but you led the way for me. You set a high standard, and I had to follow suit. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. And
I have a really funny add-on to that story.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
So our children have heard that story for years, right? It's always been a fun party story, right? About dad just throwing the recruit in the whiskey locker and all that stuff. And everything. Well,
I didn't throw him in the whiskey locker.
No, that happened. It 100%.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I not only did you knock everything over, you threw me in, which caused everything to fall over.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad it was like 20 years ago.
So our children have heard that story for years. Now, again, they're all adult children now. And just a few weeks ago, when I did the live video of Ramon and Andrew at Anchor Alley's playing together and stuff, my daughter asked me, "Oh, who's that?" And I told her, I says, "Remember the story, the whiskey locker?" She's like, "That's the Marine?" I'm like, "Yes, that is Andrew Cox." She's like, "He's so tall." Because for those of us, not in podcast world, Ramon's all of 5'7", 5'8", if he sounds really tall.
Yeah.
And Andrew's a lot taller. So that's she's like, I don't know. She's heard the story for 20 years. She's like, "I just always imagined him so much smaller."
It's good stuff. Yeah. What is it? It's such a small Marine Corps.
Yeah, that it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So we're approaching that hour mark here. I will say to both my wife and Lisa and any spouses out there, you guys do wonderful work. You have a job that is incredibly difficult. You're having to put up with all the things within the military that happen that nobody really wants to happen, but they do. And you're doing great things out there. Karleen, thank you very much for what you've personally done for me. I love you very much. But yeah, thank you guys for being on the podcast. This has been a really good fireside chat for me.
It's been fun. Thank you, sir.
It's been fun. Thank you, Andrew.
All right.
I love you too.
Oh, I love you. Okay. Well, with that brings us to the end of this fireside chat. I want to thank everybody out there for listening, tuning in. We are getting record numbers right now on the podcast, which is outstanding. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in and starting to listen to more and more podcasts. We're going to keep them coming, and we're going to try to do as much as we possibly can as we move forward in retirement. All right. With that, stay motivated. Change your socks.